It's a Big Football Guys podcast coming at you. We are here in the month of January in the dog days of winter, and I am back on the show after being on hiatus for about 3 weeks now. So it's good to be back. It's good to see you guys, and I'm glad to be sitting here doing this again.
What's happened with your team since you left? So you're done.
All right. Do we need to get into this right now?
Low blow.
Well, it's, it's playoffs.
It's already low as it gets. Let me say this real quick. As a Seattle sports fan, have had one of the toughest week and a half stretches of sporting fandom in my lifetime so far. Because on last Monday, you've got the Washington Huskies get embarrassed by Michigan in the national championship. And then basically the next day, Pete Carroll gets essentially fired as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. And he has been my head coach of the Seahawks basically ever since I got into football. Yeah. And then it kind of spiraled from there. After that, it was like just more Huskies news, DeBoer leaving to go to Alabama, basically every single relevant player on the Huskies going to the draft and then going to the portal. So Seattle sports is in a bad way right now.
Yeah.
Well, I got Anthony Richardson next year. That's kind of my only hope for anything, but
yeah, he's a good player. He's fun to watch.
It's something to look forward to, though. Like,
at least but what? Didn't the Seahawks end the season on a win? Didn't they win? They beat the Eagles last game?
They beat the Cardinals last game. It was like win. It was win to get in for the Seahawks. No, it was win. They had to win, and then the Packers had to lose. And obviously that did not happen.
Right.
It's okay. We would have got embarrassed by whoever we played anyways.
Yeah. How did the playoffs go for you guys? Did you watch all the games? Did you get all the games?
Yeah, I watched them all. It was kind of annoying. We had to get a separate Peacock subscription just to watch the Chiefs-Dolphins game. You guys see that?
That was stupid.
It's like $7 a month.
So did you already cancel that?
I haven't canceled it, no. You have to remind me after the show because I will forget. And they will take all my money.
I had Peacock in the past, so I already had an account, and I resubscribed just to watch that game. And I said, well, it's like a month long, so I might as well just watch the Ted Show while I've got it. So I'll watch the Ted Show and then cancel it after I get through that.
There you go. Make it worth your while.
This is the one time where being Canadian was helpful. Because our rights are different in Canada, it's always Super Bowl is always messed up. Like it was a big deal. So let me back up a bit. So in Canada, we do not get the US stream of the Super Bowl. So when you guys get all the fun commercials, all that stuff, right? You'll get like all the cool stuff from Coors and Pepsi, and they'll all blow their budgets on it, whatever. In Canada, we have certain rules and stuff against US advertisers and the amount they can be on TV and stuff. Okay.
Of course.
Classic. Now, basically what that means is because like CTV, like the Canadian television, whatever is probably what it stands for, they make a bunch of B-list shows. They had a show called like Supergirl, and like there's always shows every year that like, and like none of their shows are worth a shit, so they never last. Every year there's like 3 new shows that come out, different comedies and like all this stuff, right? Or different dramas, and they're terrible. But all it basically means is because of that, always what it's been is watching the Super Bowl in Canada means that you literally just watch the same commercials for those same shitty TV shows over and over and over again. And it's absolutely terrible. Okay. Now, a couple of years ago, they got rid of it. And they were like, hey, we're going to get rid of this rule. And it was like, sweet, this year, the Super Bowl, that means like we get the American commercials. And then Trudeau, next year, boom, changed it back. Now it's bullshit again. And it's like a Canadian thing to watch the Super Bowl and then the next day go on YouTube and go, okay, like top 10 Super Bowl commercials. And you just like watch them the next day.
That's crazy. You don't have access to like a US stream.
But for you, in your defense of, get a VPN.
Well, it's kind of like
I don't know how this work.
The thing is like, so you can't, for example, just get like ESPN Plus because to get ESPN Plus, you could use a VPN and get ESPN Plus. But to do that, you also need to have a US credit card. A Canadian credit card does not work on ESPN Plus. Right?
Why?
You can't just like sign up with a credit card because it'll recognize that it's different. I've tried.
Wow.
So like I've gone through that whole shtick. Now, the only good thing about the Canadian rights is like everything like flows through like CTV. And so that means like really in Canada, you get like a couple games. You'll get like a couple, like maybe 1 to 2 11 o'clock windows, 11 my time or so early window. You'll get the 2 afternoon games, and then you'll get the prime time. So you only get like 6-7 games a week, which is why I have DAZN. So what DAZN is there's there's Red Zone, which you can just get, but then there's DAZN, which includes Red Zone and also gives you all the NFL games. Now, the good thing about DAZN, well, the weird thing is this Peacock thing did not apply to Canada because it's all through CTV, right? But DAZN pulls all of its streams from CTV. So the football game for the Chiefs and Miami game, it had the Peacock watermarks that would come in and out, and then overlaid on top of that was CTV's watermarks because they had the rights. But then on top of that was DAZN's watermarks because that's where I was watching it through with DAZN commercials.
Jeez.
It sounds like a marketing nightmare.
Yeah.
But like so I was worried because I was like, oh, like, does that mean you can't get this game in Canada if you don't have Peacock? And I was like, I had no clue how it worked. And then I looked and it was on DAZN. I was like, thank God, because like DAZN is ridiculously expensive for what you get, because it comes with like boxing and some soccer and stuff, but they price it right at a point to match with the football season, to where if you want to buy DAZN on a monthly basis, say it's like $30 a month, and that means over like the 6 months or whatever football season, it'll cost you $280. They make it where a year subscription is $285. So they price it right at a point where it's just worth it enough for like your time for the subscription and stuff, to make it where you might as well have the full year instead of just doing it for the football season and then canceling it. Like it's stupid. And they have boxing on it, but like the boxing is terrible. And then anytime there's like a pay-per-view boxing, you have to buy the pay-per-view through DAZN on top of what you've already paid. Don't get me wrong, like it's the first time I've ever had all the games in Canada. Like it's cool when I got the service a couple years ago, but it's ridiculously expensive and the value is stupid.
Yeah.
When I saw that YouTube TV was getting Sunday Ticket, I was really hyped because that meant it was going to be a lot more accessible for people who don't want to have like traditional cable or traditional like dish type network TV, stuff like that.
Yep.
So I was so pumped, and I love fantasy football, and I was so excited to, I was really considering getting it. I'm so glad that I didn't, though, just because fantasy football this year was terrible. It was just not fun. It was not really enjoyable, and watching all the games would have meant following the players that you have on your team. At least that's what it would have meant for me. So the fact that I didn't end up dropping that money on, Sunday Ticket, I'm glad I didn't, just because this season was so up and down for things like that, so I'm glad I didn't do it. But it's like they do almost the same thing, where it's like right when the season's coming up, they make that package deal where you get it for the entire season. You pay that upfront fee that's going to cost you X amount, or you pay the monthly fee, which over time, if you keep it for the whole season like anyone would, it would cost almost like $200 more that way.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But like I said, with the NFL, they can pretty much do whatever they want. I think it came out what Peacock paid 110 or 120 million for the game.
Yeah,
or something
for one game. I don't know what the number is, but either way, that's ridiculous because it
was over 100. And I saw a stat that said the stream peaked at 23 million viewers. So
it was the most streamed game. I saw that.
Yeah. So I don't know how many of those people had Peacock, but if you even just looked at, say half, which I think would be generous, I think I think generously 75% of those people that watched the game didn't have Peacock. So
Probably,
if that
yeah.
was the number, that would be like 16 million of them didn't have Peacock. And then you take that and you just times it by 5 or 7, whatever the number is. And then they basically broke even on, or I bet they more than broke even on anyone that signed up for 1 month, and will more than break even for anyone that keeps it recurring and even forgets it for 1 month.
Yep.
That's how they
That's
get
how
you.
they get you.
That's how they get you, is you forget.
Yep.
Regardless, I mean, that game, like, what was it? Only the local markets didn't have to get Peacock, right? It was streamed on, like, not streamed, but you could watch it on your local channel for if you were in Kansas City or you were in Miami. Was that what it was? I thought I saw that
I
somewhere.
hope so.
I'm pretty sure I saw the local team markets didn't have to get Peacock to watch it, that it was going to be on their
Mhm.
local channel.
Hmm.
But either way, I mean, nothing interesting happened in that game except for one thing that we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
Other than that, all the games were blowouts except for one, except for that Rams and Lions game. So
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting an Eagles win, and I was expecting a Dallas win. But other than that, I was pretty spot on with the other, not spot on with scores, but with who was going to win, who was going to lose, you know?
Yeah, it was. I mean, as
Yeah,
a Giants
I didn't,
fan, I love that. It's a good weekend.
It's a good week
As a
for
Giants
Giants
fan.
fans.
Yeah.
Watching Dallas and Philly both get blown out in round
I
one.
thought the Eagles were going to lose.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought the Eagles were going to lose. I thought the Cowboys were going to win. I thought I didn't know who would win between the Chiefs Dolphins. I didn't know. I thought it'd be closer. Lions, I wanted Lions to win, so I kind of split the middle. But I've never been good at picking games, so it's not new for me.
I was pretty dead set on the Chiefs beating the Dolphins. I just thought there was no way, given the conditions, that the conditions very clearly affected the Dolphins and Tua.
Yeah.
And it's like they looked like they didn't know what they were doing out there from every aspect of the game, from on the field, from their play to what we were seeing on the sidelines with how they were acting with like equipment and how everyone was kind of standing around and it was all just kind of a mess from them. But it's hard to prepare for something like that. So
Yeah, especially when you play,
like I said,
all the
unless
time
you're
in
used to
Miami.
yeah,
Yeah. Like that cold is different. Oh, my camera. What just happened?
oh, hello, ring light.
No.
Technical
There we go.
difficulties.
I'm a little sideways now. I can fix that. So yeah, there's really not a lot of news this week. There was kind of only one interesting thing that actually happened, which was like cool because it's finally people like diving into our world a bit, but not really knowing a lot about actually what's going on. So really the only piece of news this week is that Mahomes' helmet pretty much exploded.
That was
That's
pretty crazy
crazy.
to see.
It was insane. We all instantly were texting the
Yeah,
group
and it's
chat,
funny
too.
because we were like,
Yep.
instantly. And like to watch that piece like fly off, like, let's see, I got the video.
That looks like a crab shell, or like when a snail is missing part of its shell and you can see the inside.
Oh, I can't show video. We'll get in trouble.
Oh,
So yeah, and like, dude, as far as my posts go, like this, like everything went off. Like 5,000 likes for me is big, dude. 8,000. Oh shit, yeah, 8,000 is huge. like you see where I normally kind of live within the 2,000-ish range. Some of the shorts don't do as well, but yeah, like big numbers on this stuff. Now
you and Devin were on it too. You guys had it out almost immediately with like a full write up of like your caption and everything. It was quick.
I
mean, like I think, okay, I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was like, fuck that. Like, I know there's not many angles, but I was like, that photo looks so similar to mine.
Hey, teamwork makes the dream work.
We should have just cross-posted. Why would we not just both share it?
Yeah, in hindsight, yeah, that would have
Because
made
you
a
were
lot of
thinking
sense.
too fast. I mean, think about it. You're both of you guys were thinking, all right, get it out now, get it out now, get it out now. You weren't thinking like, all right, we need to quickly collaborate and jump on this real quick.
Do you,
like a lot of
can
times
you
right
watch? Do you have the ability to do playback on your games?
I think so.
Yeah.
They're YouTube.
I don't
I have
think so.
YouTube TV. That's why I watch mine. I think
Can you?
that's an option. I don't know for
Okay.
sure.
Because like, yeah, I can't. I can record, but I can't screen cap the screen. So like, any of my photos or videos, I'm always holding a phone up to the camera, up to my laptop, or
I
because
could
like,
tell that's what you were doing too.
Oh,
I could
that's how you
see
got
nice
that
little
photo?
setup of Tony's living room there.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I basically rewinded, right? I rewinded, I got the photo, and then I went back and got like a nice video section, and then I cropped the video down. Because like if you try and it's the same with Netflix and other services, like if you try and screen record on their site, it just, when it outputs the recording as a black screen.
Wow. Clever.
So yeah, it's interesting. That's smart what they do. Anyways, so I mean, my opinion on it is most of the people diving into this world have no idea what they're talking about and no idea how this stuff actually works. And it's funny, we were talking about this earlier today, and like painting it with a broad stroke. Let me see if I can find a photo really quick. What the hell is the guy's name that is the quarterback for the Rams?
Which
Matt
one?
Stafford.
What the hell's his name?
The quarterback?
Matt Stafford. I was thinking Sam
Okay.
Bradford.
I thought maybe he was like getting into like the roster or something, because we're talking about Vicis helmet. So I was like, that Stetson Bennett guy wore a Vicis helmet for a little bit before
he's
he
around.
left pretty promptly.
Is he gone?
Is
I
he
didn't
still
know that.
around?
I don't know.
So
I have no idea.
I think,
hello.
I don't know.
I think he's still there.
Oh, hello.
Ouchie.
Oh yeah, Matt Stafford died.
Yeah, he got hit pretty hard.
Yeah. Would
Ouchie.
you, if people are calling for heads as far as like, oh, like Vicis needs to be out of the NFL and like all that bullshit, would you rather be in the Vicis where Mahomes took a hit, and we'll talk about why this happened and stuff, but at the very basic level, would you rather be in the helmet that absorbed the hit and Mahomes didn't even realize until he went back in the huddle that his helmet was cracked? Or would you be in the helmet that showed no flaws in it and Stafford's on the ground with his eyes in the back of his head?
Yeah, I'll take the Vices.
Like,
yeah, I
think
guess I would
think
take
it's-
the Vices.
I think it's so stupid the way that people are talking about it.
But in that same way, the same vein there, that's like, just thinking back from my time playing football, which obviously every time you say this on any kind of platform, people are like, "Oh, you're not in the NFL." You know, no shit, I'm not in the NFL. Okay, I know that. I'm just saying, when I played
We're
football,
all white.
that's the reason I didn't make it. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
When I played football, if you went head to head with someone, that usually didn't feel good, but it didn't hurt nearly as bad as whenever you hit the back of your head on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like helmet, obviously I'm sure the Vicis does a great job at protecting that too, but it's like tomato, right? But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And like, even I'll go to bat for Vicis on this. Like, Vicis redesigned their QB matrix model where they changed the reflex padding specifically in the back of the helmet for those hits.
Yep.
So I'm not saying it has solved it, but also this is Tua didn't have a concussion this year and he switched to the QB matrix before the year. I think that was a big win.
It's true.
Mahomes isn't leaving the helmet after that hit.
No.
And like, there's things that people don't even think about of like why this would happen. So like, materially, yes, they're a different helmet, right? That one's made to absorb impact in a different way. So obviously it flexed to absorb the impact, but because the cold put pressure on the plastic in ways it's not supposed to, it cracked it and it shattered it. Obviously not good. A couple points would be, we don't know with any Riddell or Shutt helmets on the field, or had any inspections to see if any of them had any hairline cracks throughout any of the other shells, which, with that cold. So we don't know how the other stuff fully compared. Obviously, none of them shattered in the same way. But we don't know if they didn't crack. And then the other thing is, like, everyone knows plastic does not fare well in the cold. And if you think about, like, the plastic they're using that's made to deform and stuff, like, theirs is specifically designed to hold in the impact. But, like, how does the plastic get affected when, like, Mahomes takes the helmet off, puts it on the helmet warmer on the sideline, warms it up,
immediately starts
then
warming
puts
up.
it back on his head, goes back on the field, gets cold again, takes it off, does that all game? Like, how do you expect the plastics, especially one that's, like, made to be technically more malleable, to hold up to, like, hot, cold, hot impact, cold impact? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a bad look, but the best look will be for Vicis next week or Saturday or whatever they play, when Mahomes comes back out in the exact same helmet.
Yep.
So there's my rant.
From a marketing standpoint, I didn't think it was like my mind didn't even go to, like, oh my gosh, Vicis is gonna have to take this one on the chin. I was just baffled. I was just baffled that it happened. Like, I wasn't even. But I think it's because I know how that helmet works. So my mind immediately said was like, damn, it's so cold that outside shell that moves and flexes just snapped, because he took, like, that part of the face mask, like, right here, like this sharp edged part just went head on to that plastic and just demolished it. So, it's weird, but my thought when it happened immediately went to, do you guys remember that scene? I don't know if you ever watched the OG Fantastic Four, like the first one that came out in, like, the 2000s. That scene where Dr. Doom freezes Reed Richards, and he, like, gets him really ice cold, and he says, like, what happens to rubber when it freezes and then it breaks and stuff like that. That's where my mind went when that happened.
Yeah, like, it's it's not a bad analogy. Obviously the other part that, like, Vicis can't really get around is, like, the backup helmet didn't fit on his head because I think the delta pods, because the foam is frozen, because it is still foam. So they don't have any air in the helmet, which obviously they say is better in the cold because of density and whatever stuff as far as protection goes. But I reached out to my buddy that wears a Vicis, and he was like, they suck to put on your head in the cold because the foam like freezes.
Is your buddy Patrick Mahomes?
No.
Damn, I thought we had an in.
No,
unfortunate.
You guys remember trying to put on your helmets when it was cold during football?
Yeah.
Like, after you took it off, you were all sweaty, and you took it off for maybe like 2 minutes, and then went to put it back on, and it was like it wasn't even your helmet anymore. It felt like it was someone else's and completely fit to someone else's head.
Yep.
Yeah, that
felt
was
like
the worst.
A rock. Especially like your jaw pads. That'd be the first thing that you'd kind of have to get over your head, and your jaw pads would be so hard to just get the thing to fit on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was the worst.
Yeah. But anyways, that's my rant. I'm still a proponent of the Vicis. I still think Matt Stafford would have been better off if he was in a Vicis versus a Riddell Speed Flex for that hit. And like I said, if the Rams won that game, it would look worse for Stafford if he came back next week in the Vicis than it would for Vicis when Patrick Mahomes come back in the same helmet next week.
Yeah. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, the helmet did its job, and he's going to wear it again.
I'll go to bat for him. I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think of, like, the negative thoughts of anything that could happen with Vicis, so that's just where my brain was at, apparently.
Yeah.
That's where mine went, was like, this is going to be big talk about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just cool and also not cool to see it happen. Like, how often do you see, like, a helmet explode? I can't think of a time I ever have actually seen the shell or the integrity of the helmet actually break. My first thought was it was the paint that chipped off when they showed the replay, and then he turned around and he had that giant hole in Because if you ever watch like Notre Dame football, they have that 24 karat gold on their helmets. So when they take big hits, you'll see it like shatter almost. That's what I thought happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first thing I thought of was the Vicis is not very popular in Canada. I don't know how it is for you guys, but it's just not very big here yet. The most of the time, if you see a Vicis, and if we have comments in our videos about Vicis, it's parents that are willing to invest that much money to get it for their kids based on the safety, not the teams wanting to spend the money on it. So what I thought of was, here's all these parents that don't know a lot about helmets wanting to spend the money on these expensive helmets for their kids' safety. Here's also the same parents that don't know a lot about this technology watching this helmet shatter on the field and now having questions.
You're right. That's, didn't even think of that.
It's a tough spot to be in as a parent. You know, you want to protect your kid, you want them to play football, but you also aren't completely informed on what's best for them.
Yeah.
And
but like they have to understand that chances are their kid is not going to be playing in what essentially was negative 25-degree weather. So if they don't understand that that's basically why it happened, then should it really be affecting their decision on what helmet is, like, if this is safe or not? Because like that was the only reason, was that it was that cold. That's why it broke, right? And like you said, the heating, the cooling down, the heating, the cooling down. Yeah.
And like back in the day, we played in those temperatures. So like I have my two coldest games ever were in provincials, because provincials would be like state championship. So
I was
we went to
what
state.
That was.
Yeah, so provincials, we have provinces, you guys have states, so you go to provincials. Basically you're playing, you know, the best teams from every city that won, whatever. Anyways, when we went to provincials, it's always in November, which is obviously a little colder. Yeah. And 2 years in a row I had in like minus 27-ish. Still the two coldest games I've ever played in. But anyways, we don't do that anymore. Like we had a minus 22 game this year for high school, and they canceled the game. So like we don't play in the same cold temperatures. And like back then I was in grade 7, right? And now I'm coaching high school kids, and like they won't play in that. So it's they don't even play at that temperature anymore.
I had to walk uphill in the snow both ways to get to school back in my day.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool to be 26 and get to be the bitter old guy already.
Yeah.
You guys have it so easy. You know that? You get all these indoor games. You guys get to play your provincials inside dome stadiums. Provincials.
Okay, I'll set the record straight. There's no dome stadiums out here.
There needs to be, though, right? Shouldn't there be?
The only place that has a dome stadium is in BC, like where the Lions play and like where the Canucks play. You know, they have some domes, but like that's it. There's no domes in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and like we don't have, like, frankly, dude, our CFL team, the Stampeders, they should have, like, they shouldn't have folded, but I don't want to say it's not well run, but like some of the stuff they do is just ridiculous, and the decisions they make, and a lot of the decisions they make, which look bad to the outside, are because the CFL makes no money. So I understand what they're doing, but like our football stadium is from the 60s, and it's solid concrete, and it sucks. And everyone's biggest complaint is that it's a terrible stadium and they should rip it down. But like, where are they getting the money to build a new stadium?
Right.
Like there's no money in like the CFL, like, and they can't do anything to the stadium because it's concrete. They can't add Wi-Fi, they can't add TVs, they can't do shit to it because it's just solid concrete.
Wow.
So it's the way it is. And there's no change in it.
I was going to ask about the taxpayer dollars, but I don't want to get into that with how it's different in Canada and whatnot.
You know, so we in Calgary, it was a hot topic, was a new arena. And so the Edmonton Oilers have what's called the Rogers Center. So Rogers is like our biggest telecommunications provider in Canada. They own a lot of the arenas in Canada. They own the Vancouver Canucks is the Rogers Arena. Edmonton Oilers is the Rogers Arena. They own a ton. Huh. Anyway, so what happened was Calgary's, okay, I'm going to show you. So I'll show you where I live. So this is the stadium in Calgary
Canada
for our
101
hockey
with
team.
Tony, folks.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the Saddle Dome,
I see why they
Okay.
call it a saddle dome.
shaped like a saddle. Cool
A
idea
little
back
on the
then.
nose there.
Okay. So this is the Saddle Dome. Now the reason the Saddle Dome sucks is, number one, the shape of it is not, like, pieces have fallen off on the inside and stuff because of the way it's designed. And then also these seats, like, to get to these seats at the top, the nosebleed seats are ridiculously high and steep in the air. And also the shape of it means no one wants to come here for concerts because this is terrible for sound.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So all of the concerts have to go to the Rogers Arena in Edmonton, which is stupid because Edmonton has half the population of Calgary, but any good concert, you always have to drive to Edmonton 3 hours away. So this is the Rogers Arena, super nice, very modern.
Yeah, that looks modern.
Yep. Okay. And then here, I'll show you one more. This is McMahon Stadium. This is where the Stamps play. This photo is probably original. It looks identical to this now, like legit, just new turf. Like, here it is.
That's a stadium. That's not that's not just an arena.
No, so this is our football team stadium.
Okay, legit.
Nothing's changed here. But anyway, so we have talked. The city talked about, what we were gonna do for like a new hockey arena for. It has come up every 3 years for the past 15 years. We need a new arena, and every time it's like, oh, like, the owner of the Flames and the mayor of Calgary like hate each other, so they couldn't get a deal done. So they like made a separate committee to like take those two people out of it because we needed taxpayer dollars and all this stuff. And then, like, it was supposed to go through and then didn't go through. And then a couple years ago, it was going to be like $500 million to build it.
Jeez.
Right. And then at the last minute, there was a thing where our current mayor, Jody Gondek or something, was like, hey, we want you guys to now pay to like fix some sidewalks or something. And like, we also want you to pay to like put solar panels on the roof of it. And the Flames said, like, fuck you, we're relocating the team. We're done.
I'm out.
Right. So then they paused everything. And then it looked like 2 or 3 years ago, we were going to lose the Flames to one of like the NHL's like expansion places. We thought we were going to lose the Flames to be the Seattle Kraken. And anyways, with that, they finally agreed on a new arena, and they just broke ground on it like in September of this year, or last year, I guess. And now it's like 1.2 billion.
Yeah. Okay. You see, like, that's where I was gonna say they're tripping over 500 million, and I was gonna say all these other stadiums are like, oh yeah, 2 billion, we'll build you a new stadium, and then the state and then the team, everyone's all, yeah, done deal, let's do it.
Yeah. No, it's like they bickered back and forth for 5 years. And in the time they bickered, by now the stadium could be done, and it could have cost the taxpayer less than half the same amount.
Jeez.
Yeah.
More Canada 101, learn about the taxes, learn about indoor stadiums, learning about, what are they called again? Prevention. What are they? The state?
Provinces?
States? No. I know what provinces are, but the state championships?
Provincials?
Provincials. Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Canada 101 with Tony.
See, the funny thing is, I just know all this stuff about the states, and I understand how it works, and you Americans just have no clue what we got going on.
Nope. Not a clue.
Cool. All right, guys, we're back with some Cleat heat here. First up, we've got George Pickens. He wore a pair of yellow and black Jordan 14 customs. These are pretty cool. I think they're inspired by the Lamborghini, or no, the Ferrari, right? These are Ferrari. There was a Ferrari red pair that dropped. Did they do a yellow pair too? I don't know.
Ferraris, yep.
Yeah, you see a little hit of carbon fiber on there, bright yellow.
Got it's the silhouette, though. I know that's the Ferrari one.
Yeah, these are pretty sweet. He also wore a pair of LeBron 10s, but I couldn't find a picture of him actually wearing them. But I think he warmed up in them, and I think he played part of the game in them. I remember seeing him on the field, but I couldn't find any photos, unfortunately. So, but yeah, George Pickens, these are cool. What do we got next? Next up, we got Mr. CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys.
We
Tough
got
day to be
CeeDee
a
Lamb.
Cowboys fan. So we got some Kobe's here. They're white and blue. He wore a similar pair earlier in the year that was like navy and white. But this pair is like a white, silver, and blue. Really clean, really good look overall. But not enough, unfortunately. All right. Next up, we have
All right.
the man, the myth, the legend.
Who's next? Jalen
Ramsey. Am I ahead of you guys or behind you guys? I think I'm all sort of whack. You guys are like delayed.
Yeah. Yeah,
This is
you're
tricky.
skipping all over the place right now.
Oh man. Well, I'm just gonna go for it, and hopefully it comes out fine. All right. Next up, we have Jalen Ramsey in his own custom pair of
we're on Jalen.
JL1s. Yeah. And these are a custom by Jordan Diab. We've talked about him a bit on the channel. We've got some cool videos coming with him. And these are clearly inspired by Jordan 5. They look really cool. Big fan of these. They've got like a little bit of Tony, do you remember what the texture is for this orange bit?
Not off the top of my head.
Looks like gator. Snakeskin.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty dope regardless. So yeah, Jalen Ramsey, Cleat, looks pretty good. Next up, we have. Do we know how to say this guy's name? Jeremiah Owusu.
These are crazy.
Moa, I think that's how we say it. So unfortunately, in this exact picture, he's not wearing these cleats. But these are the Jordan 16, which is like a Jordan I don't really know much about, but they're kind of crazy looking. Like I said, he's not wearing them in this photo, but I'm pretty sure he wore them at some point. I just couldn't get a good photo of him in them. Not really the guy I would expect to pull out some Jordans, but supposedly he did. More customs from Coda Customs. Pretty sweet.
No. Who next?
Then next up we have Devin White. So these are a unique pair right here. So he wore them only in warm-ups. He decided, hey, the Jordan PEs that Jordan's sending me are outdated. They're the old, he wears a lot of Jordan 5s, a lot of Jordan 1s. He's like, let me get the new Jason Tatum signature shoe on a football cleat. So these are the Jason Tatum 2s, I believe. And they're reconstructed by Sean, the Don, man, the myth, the legend, to look like a Jason Tatum 2. So that's a cool shoe we've never seen on the gridiron before. So shout out to Devin White for bringing us something new and a big win over the Eagles. Speaking of the Eagles,
who's next?
We have Jalen Hurts. So honestly, don't love the use of these cleats with these uniforms because there's no Kelly Green in them. It doesn't really make a ton of sense. Maybe that's why they lost. Probably not. Regardless, they're good-looking cleats. White, Kelly Green, silver swoosh. They look pretty good. Just maybe not with this uniform. And then next up.
Yeah, I don't love that.
Yeah, next up we got Marquise Goodwin of the Cleveland Browns. So he wore these a little bit earlier in the year. I think we talked about him on the podcast at some point. I think he wore them like week 1. So it's fitting that he wore them for the first game of the season and then the last game of the season. So they're kind of like a Louis Vuitton print, Nike, Jordan, Dunk. I don't know what's going on. They're pretty crazy though. Total reconstructions by Coda Customs. Cool pair of cleats. The brown, not a great color, but it works with the Browns. So shout out to you, Mr. Marquise.
I think those are some Air Force One silhouettes.
Oh yeah, they definitely are.
You see how they got that little heel tab in the back, and then those are cool. It's cool using the Louis Vuitton color to the brown scheme. That's perfect.
Yeah, good fit, good look. I'm with it.
All right, next up. Oh, we got some OGs here.
Yeah, so next up we got Devonta Smith. He's been pulling out these OGs all year. We did a full video on his, his game day gear throughout the season. These are the Nike Vapor Carbon Flies from 2012 in one of my favorite colorways they came out in, this nice black and silver. So he usually wears these as detachables, and these are indeed detachables. These are like his go-to cleat for grass games. Always cool to see these older cleats on the gridiron. Obviously, these are 12 years old now, which is insane. And it just shows how good they are that they're still being used by NFL guys. Then up next, we have, this is Deshaun Elliott of the Miami Dolphins. So these, what are these? LeBron 8s?
Yeah, these are.
I think they're a LeBron 8 South Beach colorway.
Yeah.
These are pretty sick. Obviously, South Beach, Miami. You got the blue in there, the little bit of pink in there. Perfect for the Dolphins uniforms. They're LeBrons on the gridiron. The colors are perfect. It looks good with the uniforms. awesome. Just an awesome pair of football cleats. Very, very cool to see these this past week. And then last but certainly not least,
cool. Ooh, I like these.
This is Rashee Rice of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got like a cartoon pair of, so they're actually Nike Vapor Edge 360 Speeds, but they're designed to look like a Jordan 1 Low. And they're super simple, but they have this nice like cartoonish feel to them. The colors are nice. Just a nice simple pair to end off this week's Cleat Heat of Wildcard Weekend. That's Cleat Heat.
A lot of heat. My favorite were those South Beach ones. Those are sweet.
Yeah, they're pretty dope.
I'm never quite sure with AJ Brown has suspected as well, but him and Jalen, like AJ Brown has some really nice Kelly green gloves, which we have and we talked about, and like Jalen has some really nice Kelly green cleats, and they always break it out like not with the Kelly green. They do it with other random, and it's just a little suspect.
Maybe they were thinking in their head, they were 2-0 in the Kelly greens this year, so they wanted to at least Jalen. What is that?
Yo, Evan's got balloons.
They like my statement, what I'm about to say here, but 2-0 in the Kelly greens, and they wanted to keep that with them, so they busted out the Kelly green cleats for this game, and it did not work.
Yeah.
Nope. Nothing worked for them, for that matter. So,
all right, we're having a ton of internet issues. We got to quickly do our best looks. All right, let's finish strong here.
Chugging along.
All right, last thing. I'll go first as a mantra. Everyone's talked about it, and I kind of do the thing where I don't really love talking about stuff like this because I feel like when stuff like this happens, everyone makes an Instagram post like, "Oh, respect to this guy," but then I feel like when I do it, I'm just like kind of chasing the cloud of like, "Oh, I know my Jason Kelce post is going to get a lot of likes."
Yeah,
and I'm like, and I don't really like feeling like that, so I just don't post about it and I'll leave it here. So best looks. I'm the lineman of the group. Got to pay some respects to Jason Kelce. Number one, as he retired, but also number two, he's got some hilariously wild gear, some old school, some new school. He does the small knee pads. He's got the huge knee brace on this leg. He's got the high ankle tape because of his ankles are all screwed up and rebuilt. He's got a very uncommon HD style of a SpeedFlex face mask, which has a little more, an extra bar on the top, not really popular. Him, Alex Singleton, like there's really only a couple of guys that wear this thing. The double Mueller elbow braces. He's got the heavy tape, the old school Nike glove on his left hand, and then the tape fingers on his snapping hand. Dude. It's just like, it's crazy. Like these old school Nikes he's still rocking. Like it's such a hodgepodge. He also does wear a Zoom Bang undershirt. I do know about that, but yeah.
The Mueller braces, man, means you're putting in work. You're moving bodies.
Yep.
Respect to that.
Like the photos of him this year, you see all the gear he's got to wear to hold his body together.
Respect.
Yeah. Like look at this guy. Again, I don't know the Eagles line guy for guy. No elbow braces, no knee braces, just he's rocking some gloves, some tape. He's good.
Really letting the biceps show.
Yeah. Jason, he's an old man.
Yeah.
So respect to him.
Respect Kelce.
Yep.
Gonna be he's a good one. Sad to see him go.
Yep.
Devin isn't, but I'm gonna stick with the same theme because I thought I was gonna throw you for a loop with who I was gonna pick this week by picking a lineman, which is something I never would have done. But I was watching that Houston Texans game and I saw Laramie Tunsil and I was like, this guy's putting it on as a lineman. I was actually kind of taken back. He's got Jordan 1. He's got the Jordan 1 mid-top cleats. And then he's got, I think those are some Cutters gloves. Are those the Rev Pro 5s? I don't know if you can tell, Devin. It's not a great picture. They don't love linemen like we do.
It's tough to tell. I want to say those are the 5s. I could be wrong. Are they the padded ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the back of hand, the diamonds.
They do. Yeah. They look padded.
But I don't think
but either way, he was putting those on. The red looked great. He's got the He's got kind of that weird elbow brace pad thing that you see a lot of linemen wear, but then on the other arm he had some turf tape, and then he finished it all off up top with the cherry on top was the Speed Flex with, I think, is the Jalen Ramsey face mask.
Oh, is he wearing that?
I think so. It's something very similar to it if it's not that one. It's got the multiple jagged eye bars at the top. I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
He looks like it here.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's dope. I didn't even know. It looks weird.
He was putting it on, dude. Well, Houston probably couldn't figure out how to put the visor on it either.
Yeah.
But yeah, my wildcard weekend pick was a wild card itself in Laramie Tunsil, so that's probably going to be the last lineman that I ever pick as my look of the week, but respect to the big man.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it is Jalen. That's crazy.
Nice. See, I know my shit.
Jeez, there's so many guys in that face mask. It's getting insane.
Tony stole my mojo by taking a center after I did, and then he put his first. I thought I was going to get his respect by showing that I had a center as my guy.
It's not the same face mask.
Oh, damn it. I don't know my shit.
No.
Oh, I'm useless.
Good try. It's close. It's the crossbars on the side are a little lower down. And then it's also the I think it's the HD style because he's worn that before, because in the middle it doesn't have the V. It doesn't have the Jalen V in it. So it's close, but it's a little different.
So is it his own?
Well, me and Devin were actually chatting with someone today about this. So yeah, so it'd be his own, but it's also we kind of got filled in a bit today on how this stuff works as far as these things being SCI verified and stuff, and that kind of process. So I don't think it's legal for him technically to wear that, and apparently there's a lot of illegal face masks that are going to become a point of emphasis in this offseason to crack down on equipment managers next year.
Yep. Okay, Laramie, don't kill me if they make you take off your face mask this week. I did not know that. I was just trying to point out you was looking good, dude. You're on the field. You had it going.
You're going to get him fined.
No, don't say that. I didn't do it. I was just trying to show respect to his trip game.
Yeah.
Here we are again with the NFL being mean.
Yep.
All right, who's Devin got?
All right. I don't know how the Wi-Fi is doing, but I have a best look of the week here. It's going to be Mr. George Pickens. We talked about him a little bit in Cleat, and his look is just like so unique. Like I felt like we had to feature it at least once. So up top, we've got the Riddell Speed Flex. He's got the face mask with the jagged eye guards. He was rolling with a 20% Oakley visor, which is always a good look. He's got the chin saver on there. 2 mouth guards, which is just hilarious. Like, I don't see why you would ever want to do it, but like, it fits him. It fits his game. It's a funny look. Like, this drip is almost like so bad that it's good. Like, that's the only way I can describe what I'm looking at. Like the undershirt. He's got like the half sleeve, like baggy undershirt. It looks silly, but like I kind of like it. And then he's got the turf tape going too. He's got wrist tape, unbranded super bads for whatever reason. And then we already talked about the cleats, the Jordan 14 in like a yellow Ferrari colorway. Like top to bottom, it just looks outrageous, but I kind of like it. So that's my best look of the week. Shout out George Pickens. He follows me on Instagram. That did not sway my decision whatsoever, but shout out to you, Mr. George. Fire look.
I hope he sees this.
Is it some kind of sign that two of the swaggiest guys in the league, like that people wouldn't think of, are George Pickens and Jameson Williams, and they both do the short sleeve baggy undershirt look?
I mean,
I hate that look.
I hate that look.
If that comes back,
I don't mind it right now.
Dude, that look was the classic grade 10 or someone who'd never played football before, and they wore a normal shirt under their pads all practice. And it didn't look out of place because it was just a normal shirt. But then the first time they put on a tight jersey, and the way the untucked shirt would squeeze out,
sticking out the sides.
Yeah, it looked the worst. That's how always you could tell a kid on the team, like first game of the season, that never played football before.
Yep.
It's and they show up for that for picture day too, and you're like, come on,
Yeah.
dude, take that off. You know that looks like garbage. You have
Yeah.
to. We had to make a rule this year where our head coach made a rule this year for the high schoolers that they cannot have. He doesn't want any cloth shirts underneath, cotton shirts. If you're gonna wear an undershirt, it has to either be white or black, and it has to or green, and it has to be Under Armour material, like that.
It's a good rule.
I don't know what you'd call it, like dry fit kind of material.
That's a stupid rule.
Oh, all right.
The most popular one in the NFL is the Nike Dry Fit.
Oh, like a loose
Well,
baggy?
yeah, it had to be that. It just couldn't be it couldn't be like a t-shirt. He just didn't want a kid showing up wearing a long sleeve Vans t-shirt underneath his jersey.
Fair.
Yeah, it had to look athletic. It could be long sleeve. It could be baggy, but it just couldn't be like a Obey t-shirt hanging out the bottom of the jersey.
Fair enough.
Okay. I'll live with that.
Yeah, and it couldn't be a bright red or blue or pink shirt. It had to be white, green, or black.
Dude, your coach is gonna hate when we got a video coming out about this in I think 2 weeks. But the next trend that's gonna hit high school teams and confuse the shit out of coaches is when your team, Evan, your team is white and green, and there's gonna be a kid with a baby blue mouth guard. And he's going to think he's the drippiest kid on the field, and it's going to confuse the shit out of your coach.
He doesn't care. We had a kid on our team who these kids are ridiculous, man. They were like, oh, you're done with that mouth guard? You don't want it anymore? I'll take it. They were literally taking each other's mouth guards.
Jesus.
And one of them, the one that was going around between a couple of them was the pacifier, that baby blue pacifier one with the pink binky handle,
Oh,
and,
the pink
battle
binky?
one.
Yeah, our big boy in the middle, our biggest boy, our intimidator on the team was wearing that, and his brother's one of the coaches, his older brother, and he's like, how do we fare that our most intimidating player on the team is wearing a big pacifier for a mouthpiece? And yeah.
Football trends are weird, man. It's hard to
They
stay on
really
top
are.
of it now.
They don't really follow the trends, though, so they kind of just do their own thing. We're tucked up here in the Northwest.
Fair enough.
Yep. So that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. This one was a roller coaster of
Wildcard Weekend.
terrible internet, Canadian geography.
I love it.
Hockey arena politics.
Need more of it.
And a little bit of football on the front and a little bit of football on the back.
A little bit. Just a little bit. A little taste.
I hate to break it to you guys, but the news world, it ain't gonna get much better as we get farther. It will get better when products start to come out. Like, Nike's gonna release all their gloves, come out in February, and then they don't have a plan yet for cleats, at least communicate with us. So there'll be more stuff to talk about when we're allowed to talk about more stuff, but it's kind of we'll get there.
Like I said when we started this, we're in the dog days of winter, so it's just when things die.
Yep. Well, maybe one day we go live on YouTube and just do questions the whole time.
That'd be dope.
We should do that.
I'm down.
I mean, soon. Change it up real quick. Change up the format. Just see what happens.
Let me look into it. See if I can do it next week.
Devin's internet will not survive.
It might not.
That's actually a good point.
We'll give it a shot.
The last thing we need is people to see behind the scenes of Devin's actual internet before it uploads and stitches it all back together and that stuff. Just here's a live feed of what we deal with Devin.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to do.
Right. Well, again, thanks everyone for watching. And we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.